everyone, this is a breakdown of how much money I made in my third year as a CPA firm owner. Since this is my third year video going over my financial journey, check out the first two videos if you haven't already. Here's a quick refresher. I'm 33, I started my firm in 2020, I've been a CPA since 2014, I started making YouTube content 2 years ago. The goal of these videos is to bring transparency to the accounting industry and hopefully influence the next generation of accountants, CPA or not. Bonus points if it inspires someone to start their own business. I didn't have any financial goals for 2023. All I was focused on was improving my quality of life and not getting burned out. But I ended up making a surprising amount of money. What's new? For 2023, I outsourced about 50 tax returns where an offshore team helped with initial tax prep, and I finished and reviewed the tax return. I'd say it was a success and saved me at least 40 hours of work, which is a lot of time over 3 months. This meant I worked a lot less evenings than in 2022. I started using an app called Rise to measure how much time I was spending on client work, content creation, and admin time. So for 2024, I can compare my hours to what I logged in 2023. If you're interested in tracking your time, I don't track my time for projects, by the way. Rise is amazing because it's all automated. I've set up categories and rules where if I'm in a specific software or website, it automatically categorizes my time as I switch between different applications. Check out the link in my description to get a 25% discount to Rise for 3 months. For my tax return pricing, I've settled on a $1,000 minimum for personal tax returns and a $2,000 minimum for business tax returns. We now have a policy where we will only prepare a business tax return if we do the accounting as well. I'm surprised it took me this long to require this policy because client prepared books are almost never done correctly. And if the numbers are bad, the tax return is going to be bad. It also makes for a very inefficient tax return process if we have to review the accounting before we prepare the tax return. I went to 2 new to me conferences in 2023, QuickBooks Connect and New Money Summit. I was able to speak at both of them, which was really fun, and I attribute making content to helping me not be so nervous talking in front of a large group of people. In November, I got monetized by YouTube, and it was a big goal of mine to get monetized by the end of the year. New for 2023 was time tracking, not because I bill by the hour, but because I wanted to see where my time was going and then use those numbers as a base to see if I'm reaching my goals. These numbers aren't completely accurate. Some admin time and client work time use the same applications, so it can be hard to distinguish between them, but I think I've captured a good picture of my total work hours. Okay, this was really funny to me. The total time tracked for 2023 was about 2,100 hours, which is an average of 40 hours a week. The 2,100 hours weren't all work hours. I'm not that disciplined. March had the highest average hours of work per week at an average of 56 hours a week, which is actually really good, but I still spent a lot of time in front of the computer because my mental breaks and Twitter breaks and YouTube breaks. Here's where I spent my time. 726 hours spent on client work, 476 hours spent on admin. Maybe I should get an admin. I consider admin time indirect client work, so it could be sending emails, communicating with clients through portals, sending proposals, moving files around. No one really understands how much admin work there is. I spent 235 hours on content creation, which I'm super proud of. After the April deadline, I tried to focus on spending every Friday as my content creation day. The script will be written beforehand, usually the night before, and I didn't really do any client work on Fridays, maybe some admin type work. I spent 85 hours in meetings, which could have been meetings with the team, meetings with current or potential clients, Realize community meetings, 65 hours spent with communities like Realize and Discord, 90 hours at conferences, and the rest of the hours was basically me on Twitter. The actual work hours averaged about 32 hours a week, which isn't that bad as a business owner. Now, if I counted the amount of hours I stressed over work while I wasn't working, that would be disturbing. There's one software that plays a big part in keeping my admin hours low, and that's Ignition. I work with about 150 to 175 different clients year round, and managing all of those engagements and payments would be terrible if I didn't use Ignition. I send out all of my proposals in December, for all my tax return projects. Think of a proposal as a vehicle to get your engagement letters signed, sell more of your services, and get paid automatically. Once they are sent out, I just sit back and wait for them to be accepted. I require full payment for services when clients sign the engagement for all of my 1040 tax return clients. That means all I need to focus on after the engagement letter is signed is doing the work. I don't have to chase clients to get them to sign the engagement letter because there's automated reminders. I don't have to chase clients to pay me because I get their payment information when they sign the proposal. They're also constantly bringing new features and functionality. This year, I'm using their new surcharging feature that allows you to let clients decide if they want to pay a surcharge when they pay by credit card. And if they want to save money and pay by bank ACH, then they have that option as well. Everybody wins. I'm looking forward to saving money this coming year on payment processing charges. The best thing about Ignition proposals is giving clients options when it comes to what tax and accounting services they want, because it allows me to upsell my services without having to become an expert salesman. Ignition isn't just for accounting firms. If you're a professional service firm, then you may want to join the club. I'd like to thank Ignition for being a sponsor and a big supporter of my content. The numbers. I had 20 new client meetings in 2023, all paid consults at $150 a pop, and closed more than 50% of those. Most of those referrals came from other professionals no longer taking new clients. There were a lot less new client meetings in 2023 compared to 2022 because my minimums increased, and that seemed to slow down the demand, which I'm perfectly fine with because I didn't do any advertising and I'm trying to refine who I work with before we make any big plans to increase leads. Income. When I made my 2022 video, I was shocked by the growth from 2021. And as I was making this video, I'm even more shocked by the growth from 2022 because it feels like I worked less and I didn't add that many new clients while also reducing my client load. Let's first go over my sources of income: accounting and bookkeeping, new client consultations, partnership income, tax advisory, tax return preparation, YouTube sponsorships, and speaking engagements. I made $181,700 from preparing tax returns. What? Dude, are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. I made $48,600 from tax advisory. Tax advisory includes year-round access for quick questions, projections, consults, employee retention credit. I made $32,500 from accounting services. I attribute the big increase to my new policy requiring us to do your books if you want us to prepare your business tax return. I made $9,300 from partnership income, which is onboarding new members to Jason Stat's Realize community, and referral income. This income source will be almost $0 for 2024 because Jason hired a community manager for Realize. I made $4,000 from new client consultations. I made $6,900 from content creation related activities like YouTube sponsored videos and speaking engagements. I'd love to see this income grow more in 2024. Income conclusion. Total income for 2024 ended up being $283,000, which feels like a fluke and an amount I'm not sure I can make happen again for 2024. I had some very lucrative ERC and accounting projects that won't happen again. I also won't be doing any more Realize community virtual tours, which was a good chunk of change. I'm wondering if it's going to be a mental struggle for me if I go backwards in revenue, because expenses are not going to be lower with a full-time salaried employee. So I have to be okay with not making as much money in 2024. I'm not saying it's not possible, but 2024 is going to be all about continuing to refine who I work with, building out our service offerings, and having fun. Because 3 years ago when I was making about a third of what I made this past year, I was actually having a great time. Now I'm gonna break down how many tax returns we prepared and how much we made on average per return. 126 personal tax returns, 3 trusts, 6 partnerships, 23 S Corps, so a total of 158 tax returns. Prepared a lot less personal tax returns compared to last year because I had created a lot of churn through big price increases at the end of 2022. But that didn't impact my bottom line at all. I still made a lot more money through tax return prep. There were some tax returns that I charged extra for accounting cleanup that I categorized as tax prep income. The average price per tax return was $1,150 compared to $800 in 2022. Expenses. Tax deduction time. 2023 deductions. Wait, how long have you been in here? Since 6 a.m.? Jeez, why so early? That's when you get up. How do you know when I get up? I know everything about you. It's my job. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Everything's taxable. Okay, yeah, but that doesn't mean you should know when I wake up. Whatever. Can you leave now? I'm trying to make a video and I can't do that if I know you're creeping around in the background. Fine. See you tomorrow. Wow, I guess with all the new funding, they can pay agents to stalk me? Back to expenses. Contractor Brian, $12,200. Employees, $6,800. My dad continued to work with me on a limited basis, and I hired Gary. Gary! Both helped me save my sanity in 2023 and contributed to my success. Gary was also paid hourly for 2023, but will be on a salary for 2024. Continuing education, $900. Membership dues, $1,000. I'm still with AI CPA. General and administrative costs, which is a bunch of costs compiled into one category, $3,110. Software, drumroll please, $41,400. Dang, that's a lot. People always lose their minds at this part, but I value software that makes my life easier. Travel, $2,100. I went to more conferences this year. Video-related expenses, $3,900. Refunds, $1,950. Tax consultations, $550. QuickBooks Online subscriptions, $3,300. Total expenses, $77,210. There was a noticeable increase in expenses because of software and a new employee, but the increase in expenses wasn't comparable to the growth in income. Summary. Take-home pay for 2023 was roughly $205,790, a 41% increase from last year. Profit margin was about 73%. I expect my profit margin to decrease for 2024 because when you hire employees, your expenses are much higher. Even though it seems like I made a ton of money this year, my situation isn't that special. There are lots of firms that have made way more money in a shorter amount of time than mine. My goal is to build a firm I enjoy working at while meeting my financial needs. And now that I'm well beyond meeting my financial needs, I'm comfortable with making less money with the hopes that I can have more fun. For 2024, I'm looking to create a community for new firm owners. I'm gonna launch a new YouTube channel that's only about taxes. I'll hopefully have an employee for a full year, which allows me to really improve upon the foundation of my firm that I started 3.5 years ago. It's funny because during the 2022 version of this video, I was completely okay with making less money in 2023 as long as I was working less on one-to-one services. And I ended up making a lot more money and probably worked less overall. I'm blessed to be in this situation and I owe it to God for getting me to this point. My overall anxiety has decreased because I'm starting to trust myself and the huge opportunity accountants have right now. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for helping me get monetized on YouTube last year. Really appreciate it. Thank you. IRS is back.